Today we're transforming bare soil into a dill paradise, and I'll reveal the one rookie mistake that kills seeds before they even sprout. Working as a landscape contractor for most of my life, we've installed plenty of garden beds. I'm Nick Fedorov, host of Things Green on PBS KLCS TV. My wife, endearingly called Mrs. Things Green, specifically requested this plant, and trust me, once you see how massive these get, you'll want a dill forest too. Stick around because I'm breaking every gardening rule you thought you knew. Hit that like button if you're ready to keep things green, and subscribe so you never miss a planting or harvest. Okay, so today is a perfect day to start our planting. And that's because it's not raining, it's not cold. But you know, if you think about it for a second, when is it really a good time to start planting? Well, it all depends on what time of the year it is. So we have what we call technically summer crops and winter crops. And some crops actually will grow in both winter and spring. So we have to learn what those plants are. But our typical summer crops would be something like tomatoes and squash. Or sometimes our winter crops are things like leafy vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower. But yet broccoli and cauliflower can grow at different times of the year as well. Okay, so what we have over here right now is a planter bed that I actually didn't plant in this last year. Nothing went inside this whatsoever. What I did instead is I just let it rest. Now, the planter in front of me over here, that's a different story. We had oodles and oodles. In fact, we had tomatoes in here the last time around. But what I wanted to show you is that when I originally planted these 3 years ago, and we probably did it here for the TV show as well, is that I just brought the soil level just about 1 inch below the top. And if we look at it right now, we're a solid, what, about 4 to 6 inches or so below. This one's even worse. But what I did was I took and I fortified the soil. I put things in there each year because we had plants in there each year to slurp up a lot of the nutrients. Now, oh, I take that back, I forget. I did have some beans in here. Yeah, it wasn't a huge crop or anything like that, but I didn't plant anything in front. We had carrots in here before, we've had turnips in here before, root crops basically in here the whole time. So now what we want to do is we want to prepare this bed, and beds can be as big as you got or as small as you want. It really doesn't matter. You can grow vegetables in small pots, you can grow vegetables in big old containers. This just happens to be a big old raised container, that's all it is. And I like the concept behind this is because it's just pretty cool. That's all it is. Here we have a raised corrugated planter. Now I put a piece of rebar right here, and I did that to every single one of the planter beds right in the center because I didn't think that there was going to be enough support for this when you start putting soil in and it spreads out. And I was right, by the way, because you need the support. Sometimes these containers do have supports that grow that you take and you put from the center to the center over there, but these don't happen to have that. So that being said, what I want to do is I want to start off by cleaning up these beds, and you could do this with your planters as well. And there's no wrong way of doing it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get out all of this dead stuff that's sitting on top. Now I notice that there are things coming to the top over here. For instance, kind of sounds like I wonder if the police are after me because I have such an awesome garden. That's right, we don't cut this kind of stuff out in our show. We keep it all because it's live, it's real to what we do over here. Okay, so what we want to do is I see I have some debris in here, and this debris are these plastic ties because I'll use zip ties to kind of zip up the plants at times. So let's do this. Let's go and pull these out for a second. And I always have, this is actually kind of a fun thing that I always do. I always have a 15-gallon bucket that's inside of my garden one way or another. It's just really important to have this garden here because if you don't have it, if you don't have this this whole concept over here, I mean, so the bucket, you're gonna be throwing stuff on the ground, and why would you want to do that, right? Okay, so let's come over here and figure out what we got to do, all right? So now that's all cleaned up. Now we have to decide if we're going to till it up. Now tilling it up is, for this garden, it's really simple because I keep it really well. Look at this, isn't this cool? You would think, well, why would you want to mess around with this, Nick? Why do you want to put in more soil? Because I just want to freshen it up, that's all. Now, vegetables only need about 4 to 6 inches to grow in the first place. You don't have to have all of this room, but I've got about that much. Let's see. So this planter bed is from here to here. So that's about 6, 7, 8, about 10 inches. Not quite a foot there. So I could do this, just loosen it up. If I wanted to, I can still plant and I can still grow in here. In fact, I'm gonna do something that's really kind of bizarre right now. I'm gonna take, and just for the roots that are gonna be in the bottom, I'm gonna straighten this out here, flatten it out, level, level, level. And for the record, if you have really, really horrible soil, it's not the end of the world to just put soil right on top of your horrible soil and just plant them there. That's all you got to do. Very, very common practice. So what I have over here is I have some humic acid. Now, humic acid, it has a little bit of a fertilizer in here. So this humic acid is not acid whatsoever. Yeah, it's actually just a fertilizer. And it's messy, it's gonna get my gloves all messed up here. But anyway, we're just gonna take a little bit of this humic acid and I'm gonna sprinkle it on top. This is gonna act as a soil conditioner. It's gonna act as a little bit of a fertilizer. So then when my roots get down to that point, it's gonna just take off like crazy. All right, what do we have to do? We have to get our soil. I didn't bring a wheelbarrow with me, so I have to go way over there to get some soil and we'll bring it over here. So whether you buy bag soil or you can also get bulk soil. So this year, to get my soil going over here, I think I brought in 4 yards, 27 cubic feet per yard. So I think I bought 4 yards. I know there's 2 yards in this particular trailer, and we've already done the other planters over here, but we're gonna do that with this. So let's see if I can't get some soil. And it's really the same kind of mix that I have there. Anyhow. So I don't know if I disappeared on you or not, but I'll tell you what. All right, so straighten that out right there. I'm gonna go like this. This is a little bit above soil level, the top. Now look at, woo! So look what happens, and I'm gonna leave it loose. I'm not going to pack this down, but I'm gonna show you a spot that I will pack down. Watch what happens when I do this, because it's gonna sink. That's why you go to the very top like this. You just go like this, and you go down, and they sunk that much. So I want this to be light and airy. I want Mother Nature, and Mother Nature is going to be more of us watering it ourselves, to compact it down. And what we're going to be planting in here, to me, this is absolutely perfect. So I'll tell you what, let me see if I can't. Let me show you what I'm gonna do later on. I'm not gonna do it right this second, but I'll do it later on, because I'm gonna take and I'm gonna put a soaker hose in here. Love my soaker hoses. I will take and I'll put the soaker hose in, and then I'll hook it up to the irrigation, and I'll hook up to the water. I'll bring this in and I'll put a couple of big staples in there to hold it, and then we'll put it on the timer. It'll water automatically. But for this moment, we're not going to do that, because not everybody has the soaker hoses. Love the soaker hoses. So what are we going to plant here? Well, Mrs. Things Green, she came down to visit the Things Green Botanical Gardens over here, and she asked me in particular, please plant some more dill, okay? And I'm gonna do that because she's a phenomenal chef. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna get some, what they call Mammoth Dill. Mammoth Dill. And when they say Mammoth Dill, this Mammoth Dill is actually big stuff. It's gonna get huge, absolutely huge. Now the dill is itty bitty. Itty bitty. Now I've already planted some dill in containers. I'm gonna show you what they look like. But if you look at this right here, you see this? Look how tiny these dill seeds are. Just beautiful. Now, they're organic dill seeds. And when you have dill seed that is small like this, you're not planting really deep into the ground. You're just going to want to cover it just a little bit. In fact, the rule is you just cover it enough. Technically, however big the seed is, that's all you have to bury it. So if you have a seed like the size of a basketball, you bury it the size of a basketball. But if you have a 1/4 inch seed, you only put a 1/4 inch of seed on there. Now this right here is a process that we call sowing the seed. Sowing the seed. Sowing has nothing to do with clothes. It's S-O-W-I-N-G. So it has nothing to do with clothes. It has everything to do with sprinkling the seed out. And I'm trying to get it as even as possible. I actually did the edges first. I don't know if you caught that or not. So we're gonna put the edges first. And I'm just gonna go like this. Now what do we do? Right? What do we do? Well, the next step is this. We're gonna put our gloves back on. I'm going to get myself some more soil. Remember I said we need to cover it up a little bit. So let's cover it up. And we're gonna cover it up like this. All right, so make sure to use good soil when you do something like this. You could use compost, doesn't matter. Okay. Now, I don't need a lot of soil here. So I'm just gonna go like this. Just like I sowed the seed, I'm just gonna put just a little bit of compost on top. Hopefully it's gonna catch it all. These seeds, they're actually kind of big enough for you to have birds see them. So I would suggest strongly taking in, covering it up a little bit. But if you cover them too deep, you know what's going to happen? Nothing. They may not germinate. It takes too long for it to break through the soil. So this is pretty good actually. I think I have enough soil here, and I think I've covered it up enough. Put that for the next planter bed. Never, ever waste it. I'm not going to do any fertilizing. I'm not going to do anything like that to disturb this right here. Now, if you want to, just for tickles, you could either take your hoe and you can make a little bit of contact. That would be fine. That makes you feel better. Or you could do nothing at all. Or if you want to take your end of your, what kind of shovel did we call this? That's right, we called it a scoop shovel. And you could just smash it down a little bit like this. We're making soil contact. We're not squishing it into the soil. Not doing that whatsoever. Now what we have to do, you need moisture. And this moisture comes in the form of H2O. And you want to make sure that when you put your water on, that it doesn't, number one, it's not hot. And this has been sitting around for, okay, it's real warm right here. All right, there, that's good. And you see we have it on the shower. We have it on the shower thing. So that's what we're gonna do. And you could control this, how much is gonna go on there. So we're gonna moisten this whole area. And I'm gonna do this a couple of times a day. Once we get this done a couple of times a day, then before you know it, it's gonna start to germinate. After we have germination, and I'm gonna show you right now what a germinated dill looks like. You could actually thin this out if you want, or if you want to have yourself a whole forest of dill, have a forest of dill. Are they going to really choke each other out? Dill, you know, have you ever noticed they actually call dill weed? Because it's like a weed. It grows like a weed. So this has penetrated through the upper level. I probably have a good ½ inch that is gone and seeped through. Look how beautiful this is. I think after, I don't know, maybe in a couple, 3 days, I'll put the soaker hose on there. In the meantime, I do want to be able to look at it and I want to assess it, because what's going to happen is this. It's going to grow, and this is what it looks like when it has been seeded. See that? I have a whole bunch of them over here. So we have a whole bunch of seeds that they just popped up at once. Now, I would not take this and individually pull them out. You know, you'd wait till they get about this big. I wouldn't take and do each individual one and plant it. I'd probably separate this in half maybe, or actually I can go just like this. It doesn't matter. In fact, you know, why don't we do that real quick? This is not even near ready. It's nowhere near ready. I don't think we can even find any roots in here. No roots. And it's delicate. Yeah, let's put it in. It's not gonna hurt. I have a whole bunch of this. She wanted a whole bunch. That's what she's gonna get. So let me do this. We're gonna put this right here in the center. And we're gonna plant this, and we're not gonna bury it any deeper than the top of this soil level. It's real important. Okay, so yes, I just messed up a bunch of my seed, but Mrs. Things Green's gonna get tickled because she's gonna think that grew overnight. Let's water this. That root ball was really wet in the first place, but I just wanna moisten it up. And my last step over here is really important. And sometimes we forget. I don't care how good of a gardener a person is. Do me a favor, mark your plants. And I'm not talking how a tiger marks its territory. I'm talking about marking your plants with a plant marker. So I have these little gizmos that I do. They're metal. They last about 3-4 seasons. Anyway, so I'm gonna write on here D-I-L-L. See, just like that. So I don't have to say that it's Mammoth Dill, because once it starts growing, I know it's going to be Mammoth. And I'm going to take it, just maybe put it right up here so that we know what is in here. So marking your plants, very important thing. All right, so let's go over the steps. You don't have to redo it every single year. I've waited many times, about 3 years to do this. I got some new soil. First I mixed up the soil that's there. I conditioned the soil with some humic acid from there, which is an organic material. There's no acid in it whatsoever. Then I just took some new soil. I got some new soil. I bought it bulk, and then I put it on top over here. And I have it about at the top of the level, but I didn't squish it down. I have it at the top of the level of this container. Didn't squish it down. So then I took and I threw the soil on top. And then we sprinkled or sowed the seeds. And then after we sowed the seeds, I took and sprinkled a little bit more soil on top. Then from there, we took and we watered it in, and we're gonna water it a couple of times a day until it starts, once it starts getting about the size of what I just planted in there, pre-planted, and I grew that, by the way, in the greenhouse. You can grow it in a patio, you can grow it, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, you don't need a greenhouse for our climate over here. And then you just take and plant it like that. Make sure that you mark it, water it, and then take a step back, because these things are gonna get giganormous huge, and I'm gonna be scoring some soup out of this whole thing. That's the way we keep things green.